We're just days away from those magical words, pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at the state of the Yankees. We're going to grade the offseason. Plus, we got some drama between Brian Cashman and Tigers infielder Gleyber Torres. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We're just days away, and we're going to talk about the state of the Yankees tonight. Joining me out there from Los Angeles is Terrence Kim. He's a little bit under the weather. I didn't know his voice was messed up. Terrence, do you have the strength to make it through this episode?
I absolutely do have the strength to make it through the episode. If anything, it'll be a little bit more like an audiobook or something. And get a little cozy.
A little ASMR there.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah.
I'll try and carry the load for you a little bit. So we're going to talk through a few things tonight. We're going to talk about the Nolan Arenado rumors that have popped up again over the last 24 hours. I don't think it makes any more sense now than it did the last time the rumors were happening. We're going to go through our lineup and rotation. I'll kind of throw what I've got together up there and let Terrence kind of have his take on it. We're going to talk about Cashman versus Gleyber Torres, the matchup we all wanted. And then we're going to grade the offseason, what things look like for the Yankees as we head into spring training. And then just take a few comments, talk a little CC Sabathia, a little Martian number change. But let's begin with Nolan Arenado. Terrence, I don't think that this trade makes any sense financially. He's on the downside of a contract. To me, this is Arenado wanting to go to Boston, which has been the rumor for a while now, and his agent may be leaking that, okay, let's say the Yankees are interested, right, to kind of get Boston back in it, but I don't think that's going to really spurn Boston into doing anything. I don't see a way this makes sense. Someone did point out this morning that the Rockies are still paying a significant portion of Arenado's salary. So it would make the two salaries of Arenado and Stroman roughly the same for the next 2 years if the Yankees decided to pull this trigger. But there's a third year of Arenado after that, so you don't want to pay for that. And he's declining, and he only pulls the ball. What am I missing, TK?
Honestly, he's still a great defender, so we'll get that out of the way. But I don't like it. I also heard some rumors about the Dodgers being interested, so that could be a possibility. But I don't really like it for the money that he'd be getting paid. And the only way I think the Yankees should do it, if at all, you have to get Stroman in the deal to get rid of that salary. That's the only way it happens.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even LeMahieu. I mean, you may have to take LeMahieu because we got that third year, right? I mean, there's going to have to be some serious financial concessions, and then maybe I'd take a chance on it. But I'm also still not super keen on blocking, somebody who could be a fast riser like Arias or Lombard Jr. who could be there in the next year or two. I don't want them to be dwindling away in AAA at 22 years old because we've got a washed-up Nolan Arenado. We're dealing with that right now with, DJ LeMahieu taking at bats from guys last year and Anthony Rizzo taking at bats from guys. I just don't think this makes a lot of sense. And look, I don't know what's available out there other than Bregman for a third base spot. We've been talking about this all winter. I think they got to go with one of the kids. I'm going to put up the depth chart for just a second. I think you got to go with Peraza at third base. I mean, we've got some other options. Oswaldo, Yorbit Vivas. I mean, you could give DJ another chance. I mean, I think he's going to end up getting DFA'd this year at some point. But the Yankees don't have a ton of guys ready to go for that position. I think you got to give Peraza a chance. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I lean towards giving Peraza the nod, just because it's now or never for him. He's already 24 years old. Volpe looks like he's locked up the shortstop position. I would rather put Jazz at second, so really that only leaves third base open for him. I think that he could, you mentioned this before, Derek, but I think he could give you pretty much almost equal defense to Arenado at third. Yeah. Maybe the bat's not as good, but hey, if he's going to do anything, now's the time. So I'd rather roll the dice with him to start the season. I'd like to keep Oswaldo in the utility role and kind of move him around everywhere. Off the bench, as well as being the switch hitter as well. And with Peraza being at third, I think that's better so you can see what you have. And then if you have to address it at the deadline, you go ahead and do that.
Yeah. I agree with you on Oswaldo. I know a lot of fans, a lot of people who watch this channel are big Oswaldo fans, and they've been saying, why don't we give him a shot? To me, he is the perfect utility guy. I mean, he has adapted that role. The Yankees have obviously told him to lean into that role. He's even learning to catch because he wants to be an emergency third catcher. Another thing that we can talk, he's a badass. Another thing we can talk about at some point, and we don't have to do it tonight, is, what are we going to do about the backup catcher position? We've talked about Ben Rice. We got Esquera. There's this guy, Jesus, I believe it's Jesus Sanchez, Jesus Rodriguez. I can't remember. They just added him to the 40-man roster a couple of months ago. So there's some guys, Esquera, Alex Jackson, who they got in the Fernando Cruz deal. So it's something the Yankees are going to have to shake out during spring training. Wouldn't surprise me if there's one more move coming. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the lineup and the rotation as we head into 2025 and just kind of get a feel for whether we think it's, better or worse. What do you want to start with, TK? You want to do lineup or rotation first? Then we can do the bullpen too.
Let's go with the lineup.
All right, let's go with the lineup. We're going to talk lineup here. All right, so we went over this a little bit this morning on my Arenado video. This is what I'm lining up as the lineup, and I'll read through it real quick for the people who are listening, and then I'll let Terrence hack away at it because I know he's got some thoughts, especially in a couple of different areas. So I've got Dominguez at the leadoff spot. I know he didn't hit a lot last year, but I like his on-base percentage ability. He's always been a great on-base guy in the minor leagues. He took some very close pitches last year, even on at-bats that he didn't go his way. I just feel like he's a patient hitter. Judge back in the number 2 spot. I see a lot of people saying that Judge should be in the 3 spot. I'm not going to fight people on that because it is the traditional way that baseball has been for a while. But he's had some of his better years hitting second. I think you put him back in that number 2 hole. The analytics say that you'll get more at-bats with runners in scoring position over the course of a full season if you're hitting in the number 2 spot of the lineup. Cody Bellinger batting third. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. He hit over 300 just a couple years ago. If we can get that right behind Judge, we're in business. Giancarlo Stanton I got in the cleanup spot for now. We'll see how he performs during the regular season and frankly how much he's in there. Austin Wells, I'm counting on a good year from him, batting 5th. Paul Goldschmidt batting 6th. So as you can see, I'm going switch, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, and then lefty again with Jazz Chisholm at second base, like Terrence said. Anthony Volpe is obviously at shortstop, batting 8th. And then I've got Oswald Peraza batting 9th. Again, some people will say Cabrera. Some people will say, hey, give LeMahieu one more chance. Some people will say, go out and sign Bregman and shift everybody down. So your thoughts on the lineup, and I'll let you take over with your hoarse voice for a second. Where would you make changes? What would you adjust? And, what do you see as the biggest weakness in my lineup?
I like the lineup. Let's just put it out there. I feel like Jazz leading off is interesting. I like to have guys with a lot of speed at the leadoff spot. Not that Jason doesn't, but I think that Jason's got a little bit more pop. So maybe in the middle of the lineup is just the way that I lean. I said this last season, but I always wanted to see Anthony Volpe develop into that leadoff spot just because his player archetype is perfect for it. But he's got to hit more than he has if he's going to take on that role. So right now it doesn't look like he's ready for that, or at least on a consistent basis. But I like Jazz at the leadoff spot. I like Jason up there too. I totally think that Judge at the 2 hole is fine in the modern day of baseball. Your best hitter is in the 2 hole now. You get more at-bats. But if you want to look at it this way, would you flip Cody and Judge 2 and 3 just to get Judge to get the protection for Cody? Kind of like we did with Soto.
If you got Volpe in the leadoff spot, yes, because then you can still go righty. To me, going righty, lefty, righty is super important because you don't give the pitchers the lanes to work, multiple guys in a row from the same side of the plate.
It's uncomfortable. You get in a groove when you start facing the guy from the same spot every time. If it keeps switching back and forth, just the optic of it when you're on the mound is uncomfortable. So it's like an adjustment every time. But yeah, if Volpe can get into that leadoff role and kind of take off with it, I could see that. And I feel like Cody would benefit from having Judge right behind him. He'll see way more pitches to hit, and he doesn't strike out a lot. And then Judge probably coming up with a guy on pretty much every time he gets up there in the first inning.
Yeah. I mean, how do we feel about Paul Goldschmidt in that number 3 spot. Maybe you get, or maybe even number 4 spot. He had a really good second half last year. He's a RBI guy. I feel like you get him some RBI opportunities. I'm not so certain that having Stanton and Wells in front of him is great for his RBI production because neither one of those guys can run. So that's the one thing I'm fighting with is I kind of want Goldschmidt hitting with guys on base. So maybe you hit him in the 4 spot and you put Stanton in the number 6 spot. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for Goldschmidt, he's got to be in the middle of the order, 4 through 7, pretty much. Kind of depends on how you're going to construct the lineup. You've got Jazz right after Goldschmidt. I almost lean towards flipping Wells and Jazz and having Jazz in the 5 hole to get a little bit more speed on the bases for Goldschmidt. And then Wells, who did hit pretty well in the 7 hole. I think it takes off a little bit of pressure off of him just to start the season and having him in the 7 role. If you put Jazz in the 5 hole, he can hit guys on, he can hit guys in, and when he does get on, there's speed for Goldschmidt to hit him in as well. So I kind of think maybe flip Wells and Jazz 5 and 7 there.
All right, so is this lineup better than the 2025 or 2024 lineup? I say no. I don't think anything is better than the Judge and Soto tandem. But I think this is still a pretty good lineup, and it's not that much of a fall off if everyone's healthy. If Bellinger has that great year that he had 2 years ago, then yeah, I think, maybe it's better. But, maybe Goldschmidt steps up, maybe Jazz goes 30-30, Dominguez has a big year. Like, it has potential to be better than last year, but on paper right now, given the stats that exist in the universe we live in so far, I don't think it's better.
I'll say this. It's less top heavy and it's a little bit more well-rounded, but it's not as good. If this is an enormous if, and I'm going to be wishing for this all year. If they sign Kyle Tucker next free agent class, it will be that. It will be the Soto more well-rounded lineup. Yeah, it will.
I like it. I like that idea. I think that's going to be the guy next winter that I'm all in for, like that I'm just every day, like it was with Soto this year. All right, let's talk about the rotation here. Okay, so we got Garrett Cole atop. I think he's maybe not even the best pitcher on the staff anymore, but he's the number 1 by both seniority and experience and like as a leader of that staff. In a game 1 of the postseason, he's probably going to get the ball, but like we saw in the playoffs last year, he's not a sure thing anymore. Like he'll give you 4 1/3 innings of 1-run ball instead of like 7 innings of 1-run ball against a tough lineup now. He can still get it done, just not for as long. He just doesn't have the same kind of, longevity that he's not going 138 pitches anymore, right? Yeah. Max Fried, I think he could win 15 games. I mean, I really think he's going to adjust well to Yankee Stadium. Lefties at Yankee Stadium typically perform well. He's the reason why it's so important to have a good glove at third base because he gets a ton of ground balls to the left side. I mean, Peraza, Arenado, both those guys would help over there. DJ used to be good. I don't know if he has the mobility anymore. And, Oswaldo, like we said, he's more of an everywhere guy. Luis Gil, I have him number 3 in my rotation. I'd like to split up righties and lefties in the rotation just like I do in the lineup. Again, like you said, just different looks. So again, righty Cole, lefty Fried, righty Gil. You could flip-flop Gil and Schmidt. I wouldn't fight anyone who wanted to do that. I'm just going by basically ERA and over innings here. Innings over ERA. So Gil threw 150 innings. Schmidt only threw 85 innings. Gil gives you more length on a typical day than Clark Schmidt does. So I've got him number 3, even though Clark Schmidt has a lower ERA. Carlos Rodon, 16-9, career best in wins. I feel like he pitched better than a 3.96 ERA. Like he had 2 stretches where he was filthy, and then in the middle was just a month and a half of crap.
And he also had like 2 really bad starts that inflated the ERA, yeah.
Right, and then Schmidt rounding out my 5th, and then Stroman. I feel like we could probably. This is what we're gonna do with Stroman. We're just gonna make him disappear, just because it's not worth talking about. So he's gonna be gone. So we're gonna remove him from the equation for now. How you feeling about that rotation? Any changes you would make?
No, I love it. I think I'd roll it out this way. I think Fried is comfortably the number 2 behind Cole for reasons that you said, Cole being the 1. I think that you just kind of give him the nod out of respect, and he's still going to be very reliable, I think. Luis Heel, I'm very excited to see what he does in year 2. If he can get that command honed in, I mean, this guy, we're talking about potential ace, right? So Fried, Rodon, Schmidt, I like it all. I really have no issues with the rotation. Health is going to be a factor like it is every year. Pitchers get hurt. So we'll see what they I like the move to sign Carlos Carrasco to a minor league deal,
Interesting
just some
move.
depth.
Yeah,
I
depth.
just like the depth. It's nice to have. I mean, the Dodgers have like 13 starting pitchers on their team, but
Right.
having like 8 is nice. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with Stroman. I don't know if they're going to be able to deal him or if he's going to be in an Arenado. I honestly don't know at this point. I feel like pitchers and catchers is like they're all in Tampa now. Like all the players are
Yeah.
starting to report. So I feel like it's almost a little awkward. He's like walking around the facility and he's like, "Oh, am I on the team or what?"
Yeah.
Like,
I
so
think a
I
deal's
don't know. We'll see
coming this week. I think a
yeah,
deal's coming this week. And what's interesting is, he's already unfollowed the Yankees on all his social media and
yeah,
stuff, so he knows it's coming. But we'll see how it shakes out. But I like our rotation. I think we got, aside from maybe the Mariners, who don't have an offense, the best rotation in the American League. The Red Sox could be really good too. They're getting Lucas Giolito back. Remember, they got Garrett Crochet. They
I
could
think
be.
the Red Sox are going to be really good. I think
They're
they're
going to
going
be
to
really
be
good.
better than the Orioles, actually.
A lot of people are picking them.
Yeah,
All right, so rotation, I think it's better than last year. I mean, obviously with the addition
yeah.
of Fried, I don't think there's any debate there. Let's talk about Cashman versus Gleyber Torres. This one is interesting. So, Cashman was on Yes Hot Stove yesterday, and he said that Gleyber Torres was unwilling to move off of second base, which we knew about. He said, "I'm a second baseman." Like, this isn't news. He said it a while ago. But Gleyber Torres tweeted, "Oh, we're still talking about this," and then had a little turn page emoji. I'm not going to bother to put it up.
Yeah.
Did you have any thought? We could just go through this real quick. I think it's stupid. Like, Gleyber should just keep his mouth shut. There was no need for Cashman to get that personal. He could have just said, "Hey, we acquired Jazz with the thought of putting him at second base. Didn't work out that way. Decided to go at third base. Maybe we'll reconsider this year." That's all he had to say. He didn't have to go out of his way. And I know you got a comment. I can see it brewing there, but I'll let you save that voice for just a second. I was talking to Scotty Braun from Foul Territory today, and I was telling him Cashman feels like he's been making a lot more comments over the last few years that, I think were pretty effing good. And like he just feels like he's being a lot more brash with his comments, kind of in the way that George used to be or whatever. He's kind of filling that role that Hal seems unlikely to fill. But he's also at that point in his career where he's at the, like, I don't give a crap. I'll say whatever I want because he's got basically a lifetime contract. When he leaves, he's going to retire. The guy's like 60 years old now. He's as rich as you can get. He's got several World Series rings, 5 rings if you count the one he got before he was officially the GM. So I feel like he just doesn't care anymore, and he's going to continue to rattle cages. Remember, he went after Stanton last year. He said, "Let's face it, Stanton's going to get hurt," and then Stanton wins ALCS MVP, but he did get hurt. So your thoughts on this situation before we grade the offseason?
Honestly, I think it is a combination of a lot of things. I think that I think we as a society, I think, has changed now where you see more athletes or executives or coaches that are kind of more off the cuff. I feel like it's less vanilla than it used to be. And then, like you said, Cashman also knows like he's here until he wants to leave, basically. And that's kind of like almost like a big middle finger to everybody. Like, yeah, I can just say whatever I want now. But I will side with him on this part. I just felt like he was really matter of fact about the whole thing. Like we traded for Jazz. This is what we had in mind. This is what happened. And there you go. And if anything, Derek, all it did for me was confirm that I'm not upset that Gleyber is gone. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. I was at the game. He hit his first major league home run. It was sick. I mean, we were all super excited for him coming up, hitting, 38 home runs in like his second year with the juice balls. Super exciting, but he was a terrible fielder. He made boneheaded base running decisions. The low baseball IQ. He was so frustrating. Like, I'm glad to be moving on. I'm good with Jazz being the second baseman. There you go.
Yeah, Gleyber Torres. There's this line from this movie that I just watched called The Holdovers, where Paul Giamatti, great actor, son of former Commissioner Bart Giamatti, he describes one of the characters as being too dumb to pour piss out of a boot. And I thought of Gleyber Torres immediately when that line happened. So, all right, we're going to move on to the off-season grades here. So as we take a look at the ledger for the additions and subtractions, the major additions, Max Fried, obviously. Devin Williams, I think, is going to be a bigger add than Yankees fans are talking about. I mean, we've talked about it several times. Just not having Clay Holmes blow 13 or 14 saves, whatever it was, will make the Yankees better. Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, and Fernando Cruz, another guy who I think is underrated. He's got some nasty, nasty strikeout stuff, and you pair him with Matt Blake, I think you might see some dangerous stuff. Subtractions, obviously, Benedict Soto, Clay Holmes, Alex Verdugo, Anthony Rizzo, Gleyber Torres, Jose Trevino, and Tommy Kahnle. And the Yankees are counting on improvement from Volpe, Wells, Chisholm, Dominguez, Stanton, hopefully, Loizaga, who they just re-signed, and Ben Rice, who contributed a little bit last year, but struggled a little bit. I still think they could use one more infielder, preferably a lefty bat. And go ahead and post your grades for this offseason in the comments. But what's your grade, A to F on the offseason?
I feel like a very solid, and I'm going with pure instinct, first thing that comes to mind right now. Very solid B, I think. I would give it a very solid B. You lost Juan Soto to the Mets. That sucks. The plan B was pretty well executed. I feel like you got one of the best available pitchers on the market. You got a very versatile athletic player in Cody Bellinger, a lefty bat that you needed. His dad was a Yankee, which is kind of cool. And Devin Williams, literally, I think arguably the best closer in the game, if not top three. So those three moves right there are very solid. I do think Fernando Cruz is going to be lethal. I just kind of have a feel. Sometimes they like acquire a guy and you're like, who is this? And he just ends up being sick. Like, I just kind of think that Matt Blake is going to sprinkle some of that magic on there and he's just going to be lethal for us. I just feel that way. So I think the bullpen is going to be much better than it was last year. Losing Soto sucks. You move on. I don't think the offense will be as good, but the pitching is going to be. I don't think we've ever had a pitching staff this good, like all around, honestly, in a long time.
Well, I mean, ever's a long time. Yeah, we've had some good ones. I'd say this is the best pitching staff since '99.
In the Judge era.
Oh, yeah, in the Judge era. Yeah.
Definitely in the Judge era.
Yeah, I'd say it's the best pitching staff on paper since '99. Now, to grade their offseason properly, I have to kind of set, like, what's an A offseason and what's a F offseason. So like, an A offseason would be the Dodgers, obviously. I mean, they got everybody, right? The Yankees have only had maybe a couple of A offseasons in my life. I would say the 08-09 offseason where you got the three big free agents, Burnett, and Sabathia and Teixeira. You went out and traded for Nick Swisher. That was obviously an A offseason. I thought so even before they won the World Series. It couldn't go much better. But they haven't filled that last infield spot, right? They still need, and even Cashman said yesterday it's incomplete. I think he would grade it as incomplete. I'm giving it a B- right now. I think there's room for improvement. I think they could have done more. To me, an A is if you sign Soto and do everything that they also did, like get Max Fried and Devin. There's no way they're going to do that. I mean, they could afford it. They could absolutely afford it, but they're not going to go that far over the luxury tax. That would have been A. I think that I'm going to give them a B-. If they add a competent, like if they signed Bregman, I get that would contradict what I said earlier about blocking some guys. That would push it up to a B+ for me. It would have to be a pillow contract. I'm not giving him 6 years. I'm talking like 2 years, like the opt-out that Pete Alonso just got.
The Pete Alonso deal, yeah.
Yeah, the Pete Alonso. I would give the Pete Alonso deal to Bregman in a nanosecond. And that would give it a B+ offseason for me. But right now, as it stands, B- is the grade. Frankie, let's clip that. All right, let's move on to the final topic here, just general discussion. I saw that what you sent me, Sabathia posted on an Instagram post that letting Robinson Cano walk in 2010, or was it 2011? I can't remember. 2011, something like that. Maybe 2012, 2013. Yeah. It was a long time ago. He when they let Cano walk, he said that it ruined their chemistry. But I mean, you're not going to sign Cano for that, like 10 years, $240 million or whatever. I mean, it's absurd. And he ended up making it about 2/3 of the way through the contract before he, fell apart.
I mean, it was the right baseball move, I think, to let him walk, but CC Sabathia was literally on the team, so I kind of have to take his word for it where he's in the room, so he knows what the chemistry situation is. The post was a photoshopped image of Bryce Harper in a Yankee
Yeah.
uniform, and it was like, what was the biggest mistake the Yankees have made, or maybe not made in the last like 20 years? And for me, it's going to be not signing Bryce Harper. I mean, it was like a no-brainer. Um, People say like we got Stanton Zed and he's been awesome in the postseason. Guess what? Bryce
Yeah, so is
Harper's like
Harper.
the best clutch postseason hitter of all time. So I think it would have worked out fine. He's a lefty hitter. He would have been at first base. So that's for me the biggest thing. Like, and he's making 25 a year, which is nothing now. Nothing. That's like a starting pitcher now. It's like
Yeah.
a C tier starting pitcher.
Yeah. Martian now wearing number 24. I think that's a cool move. I was hoping that he would wear number 12. That's what he wore in the minor leagues. That's what I wore. And I thought that would have just completed the whole Martian tracker circle, wear my number. But yeah, I'm glad that they're going to give this guy a little bit more respect this year. That's kind of like a sign of, hey, you are the favorite to be on the roster, to play left field. Go out there and just have a solid spring and stay healthy and, get your work in. You're going to be on the team. That's what it says to me.
I think he's already made the team. I think he's
Yep.
on the team. I think it's more just go get ready for the season. I'm happy about it. I have a no last name number 24 home Yankee jersey, so that's pretty
Nice.
cool. I got it for Robinson Cano actually, but now it's going to be a Dominguez jersey. That's what I love about Yankee jerseys, right? And honestly, I was wondering this Peraza's number 91. If he makes the team, is he going to get it like 19? I guess Birdie's not on the team anymore, but like flip the numbers around. Just in Yankee land, it's funny. It's like the one franchise because they have so many retired numbers where this is like a thing. Where if you get like a cool number, if you get a nice number, it's like a sign of respect almost.
Yeah.
If you get
So we've
number
got
like 60, I don't know, 8. Dylan Betances wore that, but it's like as an infielder, you're wearing number 68. It's kind of
yeah.
like, yeah, like,
Have you ever seen that movie For Love of the Game where they've got all the Yankees on the field
yeah,
and they're all wearing like number 73, number 85? It was like
yeah,
clearly like these are the extra jerseys that they had lying around that they didn't want, that they would let
yeah.
the extras wear while they were filming in Yankee Stadium that day. It was like, hey, what uniforms do you got? And the clubhouses go, I got a number 87, I got a number 67. That's
Yeah,
how it okay.
yeah.
Jay Farrell says Bregman isn't taking that deal. Can't put that on the front office. Just an unrealistic task. Yeah, I think Boris has said, and to be fair, Scott Boris doesn't have to tell us the truth. He's no obligation to tell us the truth. He said that Bregman has multiple 5 and 6 year offers, which
That's a lie.
take it
That's
if you've
not
got it.
true.
I think he's going back to the Astros. Although
Seriously.
the Astros, I guess it was either their GM or their owner was doing the yearly press event, and Chandler Jerome said that they kept referring to him in the past tense, like I wish we could have gotten Bregman, but he's gone, and so maybe he is gone. So it'll be interesting to see if he ends up without a job before spring training, which is
Yeah.
only a few days away.
I will say, I guess this will be kind of my final thought here. I was talking to my dad about this, and he wanted to get this hot take out there in the universe in case he's right. He thinks that Aaron Judge is going to challenge Barry Bonds for the single home run season record, single
73.
season home run record,
It's
73.
not out of play.
Because his logic is, and look, it's sound logic. If anybody can do it, it's Aaron Judge. Like, let's just get that out of the way. And he just thinks that dropping the fly ball in the World Series, Soto leaving, like he's gonna have such a chip on his shoulder that he's gonna do it. And really, if you look at him last year, if he had I guess like a pretty solid April, I mean, it would have been close. And also, he just had his daughter. Congratulations to him and his wife. He's gonna get some of that dad strength, that guys get. So we'll see. But just putting that out in the universe. I think 62 is definitely on the table, but
Oh yeah,
I mean
obviously.
73 is a lot. But I think a mid 60s season from him, it's like it's insane to say that, but like he's proven that he can do it pretty consistently at this point.
And now I'm going to say the thing that you're going to hear me say, and you're going to hear Yankees fans say all year long, no matter how many freaking home runs he hits. He's got to do it when it counts.
In October.
He's got to do it in October
Yeah.
for it to mean anything in the long run. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Terrence and what's left of his voice. We're going to fire out of here. Hey, but we got a song here on the outro that I play. A lot of people have asked me about it. It's a custom made remix of the song No Easy Way Out from Robert Tepper in Rocky IV. I'm going to try and get this uploaded somewhere because a lot of people have said they want it. So it's kind of a cool song. I like to jam out to it. So enjoy it, and I'll see if I can get it to you.
One sec, Derek. Frankie Baseball Super Bowl pick, Eagles.
Who are they playing? I haven't really been paying. Oh, Chiefs, Eagles. Oh,
yeah, Chiefs, Eagles for the Super Bowl. I'm picking the Eagles. Here you go.
I'm picking the Chiefs. So, loser has to do 20 push-ups. Winner.
Okay.
Yeah, winner gets chicken dinner. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.